Hi, we got a member of the British Parliament with us. He is leading the investigation into what happened in the Gulf of Mexico and I guess much more importantly, if and how regulation in this part of the world, in the North Sea in particular, should change as a result of that. So let me bring him in to talk about this. Tim Yo, thank you very much for joining us. I want to ask you first, we're 4.5 hours from the so-called Bly report, BP's big investigation into what went wrong. What do you want to see in it?
Well, I hope it's an honest assessment of what actually did happen in the Gulf. I hope it'll make clear how much of the responsibility for what went wrong lies with BP and how much with other organizations and companies. I want BP to take their share, but not to take an excessive share.
I get the sense you think that BP so far has gotten a little bit of a raw deal in the press and in sort of the court of public opinion.
Well, part of that has been self-induced, I'm afraid. They haven't been all that clever about the way they handle this publicly, but it is true that there's a tendency to kick someone when they're down, and BP has certainly been down in the last 4 months.
Let's talk about how deep-sea drilling regulation needs to change. You've heard the European Union. They said immediately following this disaster, the European Union Commissioner for Energy, that there should be a moratorium on deep-sea drilling until we understand what happened in the Gulf of Mexico. Of course, Britain has the deep-sea drilling really in Europe, and Britain has done nothing. So basically, this government's kind of voted already on this matter. Nothing needs to change, no?
Well, we reject the call by the European Commissioner for a moratorium. It's not really their area of jurisdiction, and they don't really have the expertise. Britain has got a lot of experience in offshore drilling, and after the Piper Alpha disaster, when a lot of people were killed in the 1980s, a Cullen inquiry took place and produced a very detailed set of recommendations, which were accepted. We've got a completely new form of regulation here, which has operated very well in the last 20 years. It may well be that that is still fit for purpose, but the reason why I'm doing an inquiry now is to make sure that it is.
You're going to be talking to Tony Hayward next week. He's going to be in front of your committee. What would you like to hear from him?
Well, we've got representatives from BP. We haven't confirmed who they are yet, but we are seeing them next Wednesday.
Birdies in my ear have said Mr. Hayward will be there.
I hope that he will give us some straight answers to the questions about what happened. He can enlarge perhaps on the Bly report. I hope he'll accept there may be some lessons to learn for the future of offshore drilling in the UK, where we do want to be able to exploit our resources if we can. But I also hope that he may give some light on whether there's now a sort of degree of political risk in operating in the United States.
Very quickly, are you hoping, I mean, a lot of U.S. senators, congressmen accused him of kicking the can down the road and kind of whitewashing, not cooperating with their investigation. You're obviously hoping he's going to say more?
Well, I hope he'll cooperate with our investigation. Certainly, I have no reason to believe that he will not do so. I think talking to him after the publication of the Bly report will be very helpful.
Let me ask you one final question, sir. You've talked about political risk. Oil companies perhaps now being less enthusiastic about doing business in the United States, in the Gulf of Mexico, particularly when it comes to deep-sea drilling. Sounds like there's an opportunity almost in all of this for Britain, no?
Well, I think certainly a number of other countries which have got potential reserves at deep water levels, they'll be looking with interest at what America is doing. And I think some of the companies may be wondering if you've got a president in some political difficulty, maybe using this for his own domestic reasons, which go beyond what actually is justified.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there.